Hey guys, welcome back to this Ionian course. And in this lesson, what we're going to be doing is setting you up to learn all 5 shapes by first of all, coming back and reminding ourselves of the major pentatonic, because it's a really good place to start. Rather than me sitting here and get you learning 5 brand new shapes that you might never have learned before and could take you weeks and weeks, we're going to actually build upon what we probably already know, which is the pentatonic shapes. I'm going to lay out the ground rules here, which are to say these are just boxes. I'll go into that in a minute, okay? And we apply them as we want based on the mode that we're trying to achieve, okay? So we'll go into that. It's really important that you kind of bring that pentatonic knowledge. So that's what we're going to be kind of working with in this lesson. So pick up your guitar and let's get started. Okay then guys, so if you've just joined us on this course, then remember that you can get the tab, the backing tracks, the full write-up all over on our website, absolutely free, if you just click the link in the description. As well as that, please do like and comment. We love to hear how you're getting on with the course. And if you have any questions for us, then please go ahead and write them down in the comments and we'll answer every single one of them. Okay then guys, so as I said in the intro there, what I want to try and achieve here is let's get the pentatonics laid out, because you know these already. Okay, if you're doing this course, you should already know your 5 shapes of the pentatonic, and hopefully pretty well. Okay, and that will give us already 5 of the 7 notes that we need for the G Ionian mode, or the Ionian mode. Okay, so the first thing I just want to say is that when you're dealing with pentatonic boxes, the boxes are boxes. This is how I always teach this. I think this is so important as you go forward, okay? And it's a massive conversation we have down here in the office a lot, because we're trying to work out what's the best way so that you don't have to constantly be learning new scales, new shapes, okay? And there are times when you need new scales and new shapes, but for a lot of things, especially the major modes, Ionian being one of those, we can kind of work with the same shapes, but learn to apply them differently. So, for example, okay, if I was to improvise in the key of G major, right, and I've got that kind of G drone from yesterday's lesson, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to use my 5 pentatonic boxes. Pentatonic, okay? Sounds great though, doesn't it? Sounds really good. I'm still using five notes from the Ionian scale in that. We'll talk about that in a second. But the crucial thing here is that I'm just thinking, no matter what key I'm in, no matter what mode I'm playing, no matter anything, a box is a box, okay? So for example, when I play this box here, okay, you know, I would think of this as the box 2, okay? Because typically when we learn our pentatonics, when we first learn the pentatonics, you know, I'm going to start, let's say we start in A minor and we learn box 1. Then we learn box 2, box 3, box 4 and box 5, right? And you start looking at the guitar. And initially we apply it all to minor, and you know, we kind of go through those stages, and you've done that, you're good with that, or at least I hope you are if you're tackling this course, okay? That's kind of all from the intermediate essentials courses, we go through that. Now we've done all that work, learning those boxes as those boxes, I don't like the idea of then changing it so that this becomes a box 1 for the Ionian mode, maybe this might become a box 1 for a kind of Dorian mode, perhaps. I don't know how you want to think about it, but we just want to name it as, you know, that's the box. So if I'm ever doing a lick that falls within the box 4, you know, I can apply that lick to any key. So I could apply it to I'm going to show you. This is a really cool example here, guys. I really want to like hammer home this point. So let's say I've got this lick. I'm going to do that lick. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Standard lick, it's all in box 4. Now, I can make that apply to an Ionian mode by simply playing this box 4 in the key of G major. So G major. I could make it sound like a minor mode by playing the E minor over the top. Okay, that's the minor. I could even make it sound like a bit of a Dorian thing if I go like this. I can make it sound a bit like a Lydian thing if I go like this. Okay, so what I'm getting at here, and all this stuff will become clear as we go further and further through the modal courses, but what I'm getting at here is that the box is the box. So no matter where I am, what mode I'm in, what I'm doing, what key I'm in, I think of that lick that I did there as based in box 4, voila, okay? I might do a lick in box 1. That's in box 1, okay? No matter what I play over the top of that. So let's say again, I've got a little lick here and it's... I could, again, make that sound Dorian. I could make it sound a bit more Lydian. I could make it sound really, really major. So like, okay. So that's what I'm trying to get at here. So as we learn these shapes now, it's just the same shapes. I'm just going to run you through box 1 to 5 in a certain key. We're actually going to do the key of G major because I'm going to try and stick to G. And it's just those same boxes again. So you should already know them, but it's something that's so important to reassess now. Make sure you know them and make sure we've got this concept in our head. It's just a box. It's just a box. Okay, it's like a thought, right? It's just a thought. What we do with that is totally up to us. So it's just a box. And then what we do, how we apply that, is just up to us. Okay, so let's start working through these boxes. Your task for this lesson before the next one is to make sure that you have all these shapes absolutely bang on and now able to put them into major like this. Okay, so with a major key rather than a minor key, when it comes to your pentatonics, and we're starting down low, okay, this is a really good place to start. This is why quite often this shape, this box 2, as we know as box 2, will often get called the first shape in major because it kind of sits really nicely on the E root note, the root note on the E string, I should say. But of course, we now know that it's just that same box, okay? It just happens to fit really neatly so that the root note in major is there, okay? So rather than if I was in like a minor key, if I was doing G minor, we know that I do my box 1 from that root note. With major, with G major, in this instance we're doing G major, that's a really nice place to start. If you're on the E string root note, you start with your box 2 and you put yourself into major, okay? You've got a root, a second, a third, a fifth, a sixth, and then back to the root again, okay? And we'll go into that in more detail in the next lesson. So, with that understood, you can then kind of build up the rest of the shapes exactly as you know how to do, okay? So box 3 will be next door, box 4 will be after that, box 5 will be after that, and box 1 will come after that. The same as any time you're dealing with pentatonic. This is why I love this system, because you only really have to learn one set of shapes, as it were, for pentatonic, and one set of shapes for full scale, and then you can apply it to all these different modal examples, okay? So, I'll go through it nice and slowly. So we've got box 2, starting on the root note of G on the E string, like this. Remembering always, let's just really bring in where those root notes are. So that's root, second, third, fifth, sixth, root note. Second, third, fifth, sixth, root note, and second. Let me come back. Okay. So let's just, as you go through those shapes, just highlight those root notes. Then we move up to box 3. So box 3 is next door. Again, as I go through box 3 this time, I'm going to really highlight those root notes. So this is the 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th root note. Okay. If you've done any of my courses on the major cage system, you'll know this. This is where your cage system really comes in and sits really nicely. Okay. If you haven't done that, I'd highly recommend doing it at some point. But for now, this is a good basis. Okay. So we've got root note, major root note, major root note, major root note, major root note. Okay, and that's box 3. Okay. Again, if you're not sure on any of these box shapes, then head on over to the website, or if you're watching this as a download version of the course, then you've got this in your workbook nice and clearly. So we're going to move over to box 4 now. Remember, I'm going to hit, when I hit that major, that G note, that's my root note. So there's the first root note. So then 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th root note. 2nd, 3rd, 5th. Root note, root note. Okay. Then we go to box 5, which is next door. Okay. And this one again, this sits really nicely in major because our root note is right there. Okay. So when we're looking for that root note on the A string of G, okay, so we've got the root note on the E string, root note on the A string. This sits really neatly into this box 5. Any guesses for that song? So that's root, box 5. Okay, and then we're going to keep going. There's the root note, root note, root note, and that's box 5. And then we move up to box 1. There's my root note in box 1 with my little finger. Root note. And root note. Okay. So it's important that you establish where the root notes are. That's going to be crucial for the next lesson. And it's also crucial for being able to use this concept of same boxes, but now repurposed, okay? Because what you don't want to do with this concept is be like, okay, well, I'm going to play all my minor licks using my minor root note. That just won't work because the root note has moved, it has changed, okay? Now we're very much doing the root note based around the major Ionian mode, the major scale. So if I kind of come back and put that drone on again of G, couldn't help make an octave of G. So if I use that, and now I can, what I want you to do and what I will do now is just play around all 5 of these shapes in G major now, really targeting where those root notes are as I go through it. So let's just go from shape 2. See what we can come up with, some kind of, get some nice sounds out of this. Shape 5. Really targeting those root notes. That's crucial with this style, this kind of technique, this method. Then up into box 1. Now, once you've had a little play around with that, which I'd highly recommend doing, go through that as much as you can then try and transpose that. Okay, so we're going to do that now. We're going to move it into the key of D instead, I think. Okay, so I'm going to get a D root note on. So D, D, D. Now, if I'm going to transpose it into D, I need to kind of come back to that idea of, okay, where's some of my easier, we now know where all the root notes are in theory within the scale box, right? So this is a good example here. we said that that root note sits really beautifully. The A string root note sits perfectly in box 5. Okay, so think about your box 5. Here, have a little look. Just to demonstrate, reiterate, maybe that will jog you, a bit of amazing grace will jog your memory for the fact that this is box 5, right? Now in theory, once I found one box, the rest of them should just map out on the fretboard. We've done the work there already. We know how to join the pentatonic shapes. So we've already done that work. So, you know, you've got 5 now. That means that we know next door to 5 is going to be box 1. Box 1. Box 1. Box 1. Box 1. Then box 2. Root note. Okay. You might have preferred to even start up. If you're more comfortable starting from the E string, then go up to the E string D. And we know that from that root note there, we can start our box 2, nice and clearly underneath that. And now that's it. We're in the key of D major. We've got 5 shapes across the board. We can already play loads in the key of D major, okay? And to make it D Ionian, we need to go one step further, but we'll do that in the next lesson. But fundamentally, so now I can play. Box 2. Box 1, I'm hitting those root notes. Box 5. Box 4. Okay, and so on. So, hopefully that all makes sense, guys. Remember, it does rely quite heavily on you already knowing those 5 pentatonic shapes. So if that's already one step too hard for you, I would recommend going back, studying the intermediate courses. If you're not sure, get in touch and we'll help you, kind of guide you to where you need to start. And that's going to be the basis. And then with this now, what we're doing is we're applying it to major, okay? And we need that first so that we can then expand it to Ionian in the next lesson. So your homework, your something to work on over the next couple of days, or maybe it needs a week or more before you hit the next lesson, is for you to kind of choose a key and play all 5 pentatonic boxes like I've just done there in major. Okay, so it might be the key of G major, it might be A, C sharp, whatever you want to do to challenge yourself. Get all 5 shapes across the neck, referencing those major root notes as you go through it. And I'll see you in the next lesson where we'll expand that to the Ionian mode scales. Okay, so that's it from me in this YouTube lesson. I really hope you enjoyed that. Please remember that you can get the next lesson right here, or you can start from the full, right at the beginning of the playlist, right here as well. Along the way, please do make sure to like each lesson, subscribe to our page, and leave a comment. We love hearing from you, and we'll answer every single question that you have.